I've never accepted a goddamn thing in my life. Denial all the way, baby. When We Were Young Festival has just come and gone. Big emo pop-punk event in the middle of Vegas. As you may be able to tell from my accent, I'm not from Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, so I did not get to go to When We Were Young Festival. I know the first day got cancelled, but from what I can gather, the second day went off swimmingly, and the festival as a whole was a big success, and they're doing it again next year. The lineup for next year looks bloody brilliant as well. I have no idea if I'll be able to go to that one. Getting to Vegas is a bit of a trek for me. There's a bit of an ocean involved, but I thought, you know, even though I didn't get to go, that doesn't mean I can't live vicariously by doing a tier list of all the bands who were on the lineup. That's what we're doing today. If you've been on this channel for a while, you might be thinking to yourself, hey, wait a minute, this isn't a review for the Fifth Wheel of Time book. This isn't me fanboying about the First Law. Well, no, to be honest, when it comes to reading, I've been in a bit of a reading slump for the vast majority of this year, so I've not really made much progress on my TBR list, which I think had 33 books on it. I've barely read 3. But I do want to get back into the spirit of making videos, and I thought something that's a bit calm and relaxing is just doing a nice little tier list. Going forward on the channel, I should point out, I've said this a few times, but I am going to start doing more than just book reviews, so there'll be more music things, maybe some film reviews like I did ages and ages ago. I will still be doing book related things, but I'll also be doing other stuff as well. Without further ado, this is a tier list by Jxdn C9122. Thank you, Jxdn, for this tier list. I'm just going to go through, place these bands on this tier list accordingly, and talk about sort of my opinions on them. Alkaline Trio. I've seen Alkaline Trio before. I saw them the Slam Dunk before last. I don't really know too much Alkaline Trio. I know Stupid Kid, and I really only know them because Matt Skiba became Tom's replacement in Blink for the past couple of years. Until recently, that was big. Tom back in Blink. Big news in the emo world. I did not get Blink tickets. I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, fucking Ticketmaster, am I right? I am gonna put Alkaline Trio on would see if time. I like what I've heard of them, but I'm not super into them. I did think, speaking of Matt Skiba and Blink-182, I thought Matt Skiba was a great addition to Blink-182. I really liked California. Not so hot on 9, but I am a Matt Skiba defender. I thought he did a fantastic job for the duration that he was there. Manchester Orchestra. I don't believe this is actually an orchestral group from Manchester. I've got no idea. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're about. Dance, Gavin, Dance. I am gonna put them in Don't Mind Missing. I've listened to one or two of their songs. I don't dislike them, but I also don't particularly like them, you know? So I'm gonna put them in the nah category. All American Rejects. Oh, they are gonna go up. Are they gonna go must see or what? I'm gonna put them in want to see. I'm gonna try and be mod. Last time I did a tier list, it was the First Law characters. No, it was the First Law books. I think I put like 80% of the books in S tier, which did somewhat feel like it was nullifying the point of a tier list, but I really like those books. But I'm gonna try and be use a bit more moderation on this particular list. Boys Like Girls, I am gonna put in Would See If Time. I only know like a couple of Boys Like Girls songs, Love Drunk and The Great Escape. If I was seeing them live, you would definitely catch me singing along, singing my little heart out to those two songs in particular. Not a huge Boys Like Girls fans, but I like Boys Like Girls. I'm a boy who likes Boys Like Girls, but I'm not a boy who loves Boys Like Girls. So they're going in Would See If Time. Sleeping with Sirens. Here's my take on... I'm also going to bring Pierce the Veil up. Two bands heavily associated with one another. I never got into either one of these bands because I could never remember which one was which seems like a silly reason. Also, I wasn't that much into the heavier side of things when those bands were like really in their peak. I only really started listening to King for a Day this year. Both of those bands I am in fact gonna put on the Don't Mind Missing category. RIP to any Pierce and Sleeping fans out there. That said, I did see the video from the festival where they came on stage and did King for a Day with Kellen Quinn for what I assume was the first time in a while, and that was a very good video. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put Pierce the Veil in Would See If Time because while I don't know the vast majority of their songs, King for a Day is an absolute banger, and I think that would be an incredible one just to see live. Knock Loose. I saw they did like a sort of artsy black and white big long music video for their EP recently, which I thought was very artistic and very cool. That That said, never been a huge fan of Knocked Loose. I'm gonna put them in the nah category, the don't mind missing category. Respect what they do, it's just not something that I go back and listen to that much. Jxdn, I have not really listened to much of Jxdn at all. I know who Jxdn is, but not particularly bothered about what he's up to, so let's go on to Senses Fail. Another band that I am aware of, and I probably have heard one or two of their songs, but I'm gonna put them in the don't know category, because I think they're sort of in a similar vein to like Pierce the Veil, right? Yeah, pretty much no clue what they're about. Bayside are gonna go a lot higher. Their album from I got into them in 2019 when they released their album Interrobang, and that was actually a fantastic album, one of my favorites of that year. I've gone back and listened to their earlier stuff as well, a lot of good stuff there. I really like the guy's voice, he's got a really distinct quality to it. I'm not sure, maybe it's just his accent that I enjoy, but yes, Bayside, they're going in must-see. They're the first one to break the must-see category. That is where they're going, and joining them is absolutely going to be My Chemical Romance. With MCR and me, I never really got into MCR until after like the breakup. I know they're reunited now, but after the hiatus, so I never had as strong as an affinity for them as I think a lot of other people who are into this kind of music. But I think the Black Parade is a fantastic album. I like a lot of the songs from the other albums, Three Cheers and from Danger Days specifically. There was a period of time where I was listening to nothing but Na 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 from Danger Days, just on repeat over and over again. Absolute earworm, that song, could not get it out of my head. I am gonna put Mom Jeans into Don't Mind Missing. I have heard a couple of their songs, and they're fine, good at what they do, it's just not particularly for me. Feels very weird to say Mom being from England, but Mom Jeans doesn't sound right either. Silverstein, is it Silverstein or Silverstein? Whichever one it is, they're going in, like, I know of them, but I couldn't bring to mind the name or the tune of any of their songs, so they're going in the don't know category. Palaye Royale. Yes, I know them. They're sort of like in between these two, but I'm gonna put them in the don't mind missing category. Acceptance. The fifth stage of grief. I don't know Acceptance. I've never accepted a goddamn thing in my life. Denial all the way, baby. I think this is the first one that I have literally never heard of. I don't even recall seeing them on the poster. They're going at the top of Don't Know because they're the most, because I know the least about them so far. Story of the Year. I've become aware of these guys recently because they've having a bit of a comeback. I really like the two new singles that they've dropped recently, and I've listened to a bit of the classic album that they have, the one with the guys. He's like falling on some buildings. But although I've not religiously listened to them, I think I just listened to it once and I was like, it's pretty cool, I'm enjoying this. But didn't feel that pullback. Another band where it was like, I feel like it might have been different if I had gotten into them during their peak. The resurgence they're having at the minute is fun, and I do enjoy the two songs that they put out so far. So they're going in Would See If Have Time, because I do enjoy what I've heard from them. They're not going to go at the top. I'm going to put Boys Like Girls at the top of that particular tier. So yeah, they're going in Would See If Have Time. The Starting Line, oh hell yes. I only really know one The Starting Line album, and only really one song out of that, which is Best of Me. But the thing with Best of Me is that song is just an encapsulated version of everything that is good about pop punk. Like, if you've got no idea what the genre of pop punk is, and you're looking for just one song to like really hammer home what the genre is about, what it should sound like, Best of Me by The Starting Line is absolutely a pinnacle pop punk song. I would say like that, My Friends Over You by Newfound Glory, obviously All the Small Things by Blink-182 would also be in there. A lot of songs by Blink-182 could fit in that category of like, so you're new to pop punk, like the Captain America thing. So you want to get into pop punk? Here's the Best of Me by The Starting Line. That is an absolute banger of the song, and that album is very good. I love what I've heard from The Starting Line. I would not want to miss them. Thursday. It's today. Today is Thursday when I'm recording this. I've definitely heard of Thursday. That's it. I don't really know them, so they're going in the don't know category. Anberlin, one of Henry VIII's wives, they're also going in the don't know category. LA Dispute, or La Dispute, I'm not sure. I always think of, there was a guy called Jared Alonje who did a bunch of like pop punk comedy videos, and one of his things was here's how to pronounce all the band names in the scene. But as the video would go on, they would get more and more inaccurate. So he called these guys La Dispute. I could not bring to mind any of their songs, so I'm going to put them in don't know. What have we got next? Armor for Sleep. an ode to paranoia if I've ever heard one. Armor for Sleep are also going into the don't know. We're getting a lot of don't know categories coming up here, but all that is about to change. Paramore, they're going in must see. They're Paramore. What more can I say? I do enjoy a bit of Paramore. I am gonna get my cranky old man vibe on and say I do prefer the older Paramore to the newer stuff. Riot and Brand New Eyes. That's the Paramore that I like. That said, they seem to be doing what they want now, so power to them, and I would absolutely see them live. We the Kings are also going in one of these two categories here. Not getting a lot of the S tier yet. Even Mychem, I'll say it. Like I said, wasn't ever as hugely into them as a lot of other people. I am gonna put We the Kings also in want to see. Not must see, but want to see. I love that We the Kings first album. My favorite song by We the Kings is not Check Yes Juliet, it is Skyway Avenue. Check Yes Juliet, obviously the most popular song. I always thought Skyway Avenue should have been just as well known as that, because that is an absolute banger of a song. Just as good, if not better than Check Yes Juliet. The Wonder Years next. I am gonna put them, this might upset people, I feel like a lot of the Wonder Years fan base are very vocal about their love for the Wonder Years. I think they're fine. I honestly, like, they've got some songs that I really do like, but when it comes to entire albums, there's no one entire album that I can find myself going, oh, that's a great album. But I love like a lot of their popular songs. Passing Through a Screen Door, Came Out Swinging, Melrose Diner, they're probably my top 3. So I'm gonna put them in Would See If Has Time, and I'm gonna put them at the top of that. Passing Through a Screen Door specifically this year, because I am 26, and boy, that bridge is really, it really does hit even harder when you are actually 26. Royal and the Serpent next. I only really know these guys because they featured on Stand Atlantic's new album on the song Pity Party. Really enjoy that song, probably one of my favorites off that album, but they're not Stand Atlantic. And I've listened to a couple of their other songs as well. They're okay, but I would not be heartbroken if I wound up missing them, so I'm gonna put them on the Don't Mind Missing category. Hawthorne Heights, I'm also gonna put in the Don't Mind Missing category. Big staple of emo, specifically Ohio Is for Lovers. Again, this is a band I'm only really aware of because of that guy Jared Alonje, who I mentioned earlier. He did a big medley of like a lot of big emo songs, and Hawthorne Heights got mentioned a fair bit in that. Ohio Is for Lovers is a fairly good song, but other than that, I've got not that much interest in them. Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, or Apparatus. I'm gonna also put them in Would See If Have Time. This is another band I don't really know any songs of theirs except for the big one, Face Down, but I imagine singing along to Face Down in a crowd when they're up on stage would be a very cool experience, so I'm gonna put them in Would See If Have Time. Taking Back Sunday. I am gonna put them a bit higher up. I only really got into Taking Back Sunday this year, listening to their big hits, Cute Without the E, Make Damn Sure, Stand Atlantic as well. They did a cover of Make Damn Sure, which really is what kicked me off into going down the Taking Back Sunday rabbit hole. I'm gonna put them in Want to See. Yeah, I'm gonna put them in Want to See. Cut Without the E, Make Damn Sure, You're So Last Summer, absolute bangers all round. Particularly recently, not their song, but the Maine's new song, Loved You a Little, in which the lead singer of Taking Back Sunday features, is a fantastic song. I feel like that song has really kicked collaborative songs up to a new level. Really good song. I also enjoy the old guitarist Fred has a YouTube channel where he sometimes reacts to like old school pop punk and emo music videos, which I really enjoy, and that guy seems like just a super chill, cool guy. It was also fun to watch him watch the Taking Back Sunday videos that he was in and talk about a bit of the behind the scenes stuff there. Yeah, I've gotten into Taking Back Sunday. Dashboard Confessional are going, yeah, they're going to go in Would See If Have Time. Same as Red Jumpsuit, I know one song by them, I really like that one song, and with Dashboard it is the song from Spider-Man, obviously. What's the name of the song? Vindicated, yes. Mental block there, but yes, Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional. That is one that I could absolutely belt my heart out to in a crowd if I was seeing them live. I love specifically about that song that it's not just written for the Spider-Man 2 movie soundtrack, it is written about Spider-Man 2, because they'd been hired to do a song for the soundtrack, and they had a song that they were gonna go with, but something about it wasn't feeling right to the Dashboard frontman, and then he watched the movie, and then he wrote Vindicated about the movie. Vindicated is specifically about the events of Spider-Man 2, and that is just a lovely piece of trivia that I like to bring up whenever I get the opportunity to. I Prevail. I know of them. I think I've heard a couple of their songs, but I've never been too enthused to properly go back to them, so they're going in Don't Mind Missing. Oh, Story So Far. They are going up in Want to See. They're going in Want to See, not Must See. Again, I feel like a lot of Story So Far have a huge fan base who are like super into Story So Far. For me, they're not as high up as I think a lot of other people would put them, but I really like that first album. I really like the latest album, Proper Dose. I think for a while I got put off the story so far because a couple of years ago there was that story where Parker Cannon drop-kicked a fan off the stage. I thought that was kind of like a shitty thing to do. But then I did look into that story, and the fan who got drop-kicked said that they were okay with it. But still, like, there's no guarantee that they would have been, and like, he could have done some damage there. Although it does seem like in recent years he's mellowed out and has like become a bit more mindful of sort of the messages he's putting out. But yeah, I really like Under Soil and Dirt and Proper Dose, particularly the song Quicksand. That is still my favourite song by them. I remember hearing that song when I was about 14 or 15 or 16, that sort of age, and hearing English, I'm trying real hard not to lose my temper, that whole bit from that song. That resonated with me as an angst-filled 16-year-old, so they are going to want to see. Bring Me the Horizon, another band that I've really started paying attention to this year in terms of like their actual songs, but they are going in Don't Mind Missing. I do enjoy Throne and Shadow Moses, and maybe a couple of the ones I could mention. I'm sure they put on a great show. They've just been announced for Download Festival next year as one of the headliners. Just never been super enthused about them, so I wouldn't mind missing them. Car Seat Headrest, a very important part of the car. I've got no idea who these guys are. I'm putting them in the don't know category. I'm making a little staircase here with the categories. I know I've not got any so far, but there are gonna be bands here who are gonna get in that top spot. Black Veil Brides are not one of them. I've seen Black Veil Brides at Download Festival because I had friends who are very into them. I do quite like the song Fallen Angels, but I've never really gone in deep into their discography and had a listen to what more they have to offer. So they're going in the Don't Mind Missing. Mayday Parade are going in Would See If Have Time, I think. There's a few Mayday Parade songs that I really like. Great pick to have for a Vegas festival as well, because that song starts with I had a dream last night, we went out to see Las Vegas. An absolute perfect fit for this festival. That said, never really got super into Mayday Parade because I always felt they were like a little too sort of whiny sad boy for my particular taste. Like I say, I'm more of like a Newfound Glory, guitar chords, power chords, upbeat, having fun with your friends kind of music. Whereas Mayday Parade songs, a lot of them were like, I'm sad. I'm a sad boy over here. The Maine, I am gonna put over in Want to See. They would have been a bit further down before this year, but like I say, the song Loved You a Little has really just skyrocketed them. I'd go see them just for that song alone. But I do like a couple of their other songs, Everything I Asked For and Into Your Arms. Here's a fun little anecdote about the Maine. So you remember when the Blackberry phone was a thing for like a week? I had a Blackberry. I specifically got a Blackberry because I thought, oh, everyone has an iPhone, I'm gonna be different and get a Blackberry because I'm edgy. One of the weirdest features of the Blackberry I got, and I don't know if this was just on my particular phone or if this was like a standard thing, on the video category you could save videos, and they had an example video there, and what it was the music video for Into Your Arms by the Maine, but just like the first half of it like cut off after the first chorus. Super weird. Like, what an obscure song to pick for that. Why was that a thing? Why was the first half of Into Your Arms by the Maine music video a feature on Blackberry phones? Please let me know in the comments if you also had a Blackberry and you also had that. Because sometimes I just remember that was a thing and I'm like, what was going on there? What was the thinking? Why did that happen? Or was that literally just my phone? Very weird, because the Maine, especially at the time, weren't that well known, so it was a very obscure feature. Neck Deep, here we go. I think that Neck Deep, I've seen them live a few times. First time I saw Neck Deep live, I got it in for free because a friend of mine had won competition tickets to go and see them, but had already bought their own tickets as well, so ended up getting the free ticket from the competition, which is pretty sweet. And that was really the first sort of experience I had with Neck Deep. I'm gonna put them in S tier, you know what? I wasn't a huge fan of their latest album, All Distortions Are Intentional, but I really love Life's Not Out to Get You and The Peace and the Panic. Those were two fantastic albums. Their new single, STFU, I think is a very good song. It feels like they're going back to the sound that I enjoy from them. Seen them live a few times and they rarely disappoint, so I'm gonna put them in S tier. I do like me some Neck Deep, with the exception of All Distortions Are Intentional, which I thought was very, very lackluster. It's a shame because I was looking forward to a new release after Peace and Panic. I was like, I can't wait to see where this band goes next. And then they released that, which just kind of, it feels like every song was just kind of watered down. But it feels like with STFU, they've found found their personality again. So I'm looking forward to whatever they come out with next. Puppy. I like puppies as an animal. No idea what Puppy are about. I'm gonna put them in don't know. I know there's another band on here somewhere called Kittie, yeah, who I also don't know, but I hope there's like a friendly rivalry between Puppy and Kittie. I think it's a missed opportunity if there isn't. I love puppies, I love kittens. Those bands in particular, based on their logos, I assume they're quite heavy, but I've got absolutely no clue. I do enjoy though that they have rival names. Nessa Barrett. I've listened to a couple of Nessa Barrett songs recently. Someone recommended them to me, but not quite my thing. Good at what she does, but I wouldn't mind missing her. We're getting some double rows in these categories down here. I wasn't kidding when I said I was going to be a lot pickier about who's going into S tier. I bet a lot of people would not put Neck Deep above My Chem and Paramore. I'm different, baby. Wolf Alice. I've definitely heard of them. I believe they're a heavier band. I may have heard one or two of their songs, but I've got absolutely no clue really anything about them other than that, so I am going to put them in the don't know category. A Day to Remember. Similar to Neck Deep, I also was not a huge fan of their latest album, Brick Wall. Was it Brick Wall? No, it was called You're Welcome, which I think a lot of fans did not say. That album was not well received at all. By far one of the worst things they've put out. Okay, here's maybe I'm being harsh there. I think with You're Welcome, what we've got is there's a good EP that is hidden inside a bad album. But their new single, Miracle, I did enjoy very much, and they have done enough over the course of their career to definitely elevate them into the S tier there. What Separates Me From You, Homesick, and Common Courtesy is just an absolutely banging trilogy of albums. The whole discography has got some great stuff on it. When it comes to mixing the lighter pop punk stuff with the more heavier hardcore stuff, they really took that and made it an art form and made it their own. Gotta respect them for that. And I think to this day, one of my favourite gigs that I've ever been to was A Day to Remember, when they were on tour with Newfound Glory, Neck Deep, and Moose Blood, which was an insane lineup. Even without A Day to Remember at the top, that would be a fantastic show. That was the first time I ever saw A Day to Remember. Seen them a couple of times since as well. Download Festival. Always put on a good show. Do love me a bit of ADTR, so they are going in the S tier category. Pvris. Yes, that is how you say it. That's how they're spelling it. That's how I'm choosing to say it until they flip that. That's not an A there. That's a V. So Pvris. I don't mind missing Pvris. Listened to a couple of their songs, but nothing got me particularly going back to them. I don't mind them, but I also wouldn't mind missing them. My apologies to Lynn Gunn. Motionless in White. I have seen a little bit of them when they were at Download Festival. Gotta be honest, didn't particularly enjoy them. They're going in the don't mind missing category. Saosin. Susan. I'm gonna put Susan in the don't know category. I have heard of I think it is meant to be Saosin, but I don't really know much about them. Believe they're a heavier band, but got no idea. Similar with Atreyu. I think I have heard one or two Atreyu songs, and never anything in them that particularly got me coming back for more. I know I've heard one or two Atreyu songs because I watched The Neverending Story last year, I think. Every time the kid said Atreyu, I was like, oh, he's talking about the band. And then I went and listened to some Atreyu to see what it was about. Perfectly fine, but not particularly my bag. Similar for Glassjaw. I can't recall if I've ever heard a Glassjaw song. I believe they're more of sort of a hardcore band. They're going in one of the bottom two regardless, so I'm just gonna put them in Don't Mind Missing, because I think I have heard a couple of their songs. Ice Nine Kills. I like what Ice Nine Kills are about. A Halloween themed band is absolutely something that was needed, I think, and they are very good at doing that. I've heard a couple of their a couple of their songs. I do enjoy them, but I wouldn't particularly mind if I missed them. I also don't have them on my Halloween playlist because it feels like cheating. That said, I really enjoy their theme and the sort of thing that they do. Lil Huddy, Lil Huddy, small hooded jacket. I do know who he is, but I don't really know any of his songs. I'm gonna put him don't know. Same with TV Girl. No idea who that is. I've seen a lot of TV, and there have been girls on the TV whilst I was watching it. I realised as I was saying that sounded a bit lewd. I've seen girls on TV. I've seen girls on film. I've heard the song Girls on Film. The musical artist TV Girl, no clue. I do know 303, or 30H3 I always called them, which I believe is incorrect. Heard a couple of their songs. I think they did a song with Katy Perry, which was like when they were in their prime. They're fine, but not particularly one that I'm super interested in going to see. So I'm gonna put them in the don't mind missing category. Here we go. State Champs. I fell out of favour with State Champs a little bit after Living Proof, their third album, especially after Around the World and Back, which is an album by them that I absolutely adored. I was very excited for Living Proof, but it felt a bit watered down and a bit generic. A lot of the songs sort of blend into one another. There's no particular songs, other than like one or two, that really stood out for me. That said, their new album, Kings of the New Age, is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite albums of the year by far, and it really seems like they are back on a roll. They have like jumped their way up the ranks of my favorite overall bands. I love Me the State Champs. I love what they're about. I really love the new attitude they've got, which is like, they've talked in interviews about how a load of bands talk about, oh, you've got to get mature with each new release, but they're saying, you know what? No, we're getting more mature in the sense that we're better at playing our instruments, but in terms of the music we're putting out, we still like to have fun. It's okay to put out songs that are fun and catchy and aren't like some huge artistic Bohemian Rhapsody sort of thing. And Kings of the New Age really encapsulates that attitude. It's fun, sunshine pop punk, and it is brilliant, and I love those guys. And they're really funny guys in interviews and things, and their sense of humor comes through in the music videos as well. I really enjoy State Champs. And I will say, despite my my chagrin about Living Proof, on repeat listens, there are songs that do begin to stand out, like Criminal, Frozen, Dead and Gone, all very good songs. I'm a big fan of the Champs. I'm a Champs man. So they're going in S tier, was the conclusion there. And you know who else is going in S tier? 4 Year, here we go. S tier is finally getting a bit of time to shine. I love 4 Year Strong. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna put them above A Day to Remember even, because while they're not as big a band as A Day to Remember, they have released some absolute bangers. First heard of them, I was watching a music channel, and their song, It Must Really Suck to Be 4 Year Strong Right Now, came up. I just think, by the title alone, I'm already in favour with this band. That's a brilliant title. They have really, tell you what they've turned into an art form, because I talked about A Day to Remember, and I said they got the sort of pop punk and hardcore fusion into an art. What 4 Year Strong have gotten into an art is having two vocalists. Like, there are a lot of bands that have two vocalists. None of them have a scratch on the way that 4 Year Strong managed to integrate both Alan and Dan's voices into every song. It just creates this really nice flow into every song because they overlap the lines. You just get this sense of energy with all of it. I really love their album Enemy of the World, which they just did a remastered version of, which is super cool. The latest album, Brain Pain, that was also brilliant. One of my favourite albums of that year that it came out. 4 Year Strong, great band. I've seen them live twice. Would love to see them again. Absolutely top-notch band for me, so they're going in S tier as well. Who have we got next? The Ready Set. I need to just remind myself who the Ready Set are, because I definitely know of the Ready Set, and I'm sure I've heard of a few of their songs. I just need to there's a chance I'm getting them mixed up with another band. When the poster first got announced, I got them confused with, I think it was Runner. I thought they were, yeah, that they look like the Ready Set. The thing is, I'm sure if I heard a couple of Ready Set songs, I would know them, but I cannot bring to mind what they are right now. I think I would enjoy seeing them if I could only remember who the hell they are. I'm gonna put them in Don't Mind Missing then. I think that's a fair compromise for that. Avril, hello. She's gonna be in one of the top tiers there. In fact, she's gonna be in Must See. Avril Lavigne has got some absolute bangers to her history. Complicated, Skater Boy. What more is there to say? Well, I'll tell you. Her album from earlier this year, Love Sucks, incredible. When she released the music video for Bite Me, that was like an insane. It felt like a complete throwback to the early 2000s. I had that song on repeat non-stop when it came out. Absolute earworm, and the rest of the album really good too. I would absolutely go and see Avril. Who have we got? Who have we got here? What does that say? I genuinely cannot read this band logo. The Garden? Regardless, I have no idea who you are. Just noticed I do like up at the top that I've got State Champs, Neck Deep, and 4 Year Strong all together because both Neck Deep and 4 Year Strong are featured on State Champs' new album. So that's a bit of fun. All friends there. Also, I just thought I've put 4 Year Strong and A Day to Remember together. I may be wrong on this, but I believe there is like some beef between those two bands because they were on a Newfound Glory tour called Take It Easy Core, which is fun fact, that is where that term comes from. Newfound Glory came up with that term, easycore, and arguably invented it with their song, At Least I'm Known for Something. But both 4 Year Strong and Day to Remember, big easycore names, but I believe they had a falling out during that tour, and this is the first time they have been on the tour poster together since then. I may be wrong, but I believe that is the case. I don't know if there is still beef between those two bands, but I think for a while there was. Because I've heard some rumors that like Second Sucks is about 4 Year Strong. I don't know the exact ins and outs of the details or if it's all just rumor, but hey, I like both those two bands, whatever they got going on. I don't know, I just like the music. My attitude to most like behind the scenes drama when it comes to bands and band fandom is I don't know, dude, I just like the songs. Horror Pops, I assume they're similar to Ice Nine Kills, sort of a horror-themed band, but it is assumptions because I don't know who they are. I'm putting them in the don't know category. I do know who the Linda Lindas are. I've heard a couple of their songs, but nothing in them that particularly grabbed me, so I'm putting them in Don't Mind Missing. Meet Me at the Altar. These girls absolutely rock. I am putting them up at the top, up in the S tier. Oh, we've broken the staircase. There's no longer a staircase here. The top shelf is starting to extend. Meet Me at the Altar are similar actually to A Day to Remember and 4 Years Strong. They've got a bit of an easy core sound. I absolutely love what they're about. Their EP from last year was one of my favorite releases of that year. Their new single, Say It to My Face, love it. Meet Me at the Altar are a band that I'm very excited to see what they've got in the future because so far they've been killing it. I got to see them at Download Festival. They put on a killer show. They are absolutely going in S tier. Prentice, I don't know you. Bright Eyes, I also don't know. I know the song Bright Eyes Burning from Watership Down, but the band Bright Eyes, no idea. I saw them because they're like one of the bigger logos on the actual poster itself. Their logo looks a bit like, you know, those stickers that you get on a banana. As to who Bright Eyes actually are, I'm afraid I have no idea. They're going in don't know. Let's talk about the Used for a little bit. I'm gonna put them in Would See If Have Time. I only really know The Taste of Ink by them, and Pretty Handsome Awkward is the other one I know by them. Outside of that, no idea. I've never been too into the Used, but I do think The Taste of Ink is an absolute banger, and it would be great to sing along to it in a crowd, so that is why they're going in Would See If Have Time. A Fire Inside, AFI. They did Miss Murder. Hey Miss Murder, can I did actually catch a glimpse of their set at Download 2017, and I was just walking past because they were on the main stage, but it was while they were doing that song, which is the only song that I really know by them. Good song. Is it good enough to put them in this category? I think yes. I really enjoy that song, and I'm sure they've got some other good songs that would be great to see live. I enjoyed walking past them while they were playing live that one time. Not exactly seeing them live, but it's a bit of a grey area there. And we only have one band left, and that is Jimmy Eat World, who are responsible for some great songs. One of the iconic songs of the pop punk world, The Middle. A nice ballad, Hear You Me, is one I quite like. I believe that was in 90210 or One Tree Hill or something like that. The song Bleed American, Sugar on the Asphalt, very much a banger. I am gonna put them in Must See. Jimmy Eat World have earned their place as a big name in the scene. Absolutely would go and see them. The guy himself has a really good voice and is a very good songwriter. And that is the final band there. I believe that is every band on the When We Were Young 2022 lineup that I have put in my tier list there. Well, not my tier list, Jordan's tier list. So yeah, that's my S tier there. 4 Years Strong, A Day to Remember, State Champs, Meet Me at the Altar, and Neck Deep. Hearing those bands, it's like music to my ears, which I guess that's just what listening to bands is. Below them we got My Chem, we got Avril, Bayside, Paramore, and Jimmy. These guys are in my top echelons. I love the word echelons. What a great word. Yeah, this is my opinion on all of the bands on When We Were Young. I didn't actually pay too much close attention to the set times, so I don't know if I would be able to see all of these guys if I had been able to go, but I would have tried my hardest to. Those are the ones that I like most personally, although if I was there I would probably try harder to see My Chem, Avril, and Paramore just because they're such big names. But when it comes to my own personal taste, 4 Years Strong, ADTR, State Champs, Meet Me at the Altar, and Neck Deep, those are some top-notch S-tier bands right there. That is my When We Were Young 2022 tier list. So, let me know in the comments, did you go to When We Were Young? What bands would be in your S tier? Are you excited for next year's? Do you think that I made some absolutely dumbass decisions on this list and you would put Wonder Years higher? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the comments below if you had that Blackberry Into Your Arms music video, because more than anything, that's what I'm most curious about. Because it's just such a bizarre thing to have on a because Blackberry's whole business model was like, this is a phone for people who are in business. This is a business phone. This is a work phone. This is a smart professional phone. But we are going to give you the first half of this emo song in music video form, just as an example for the kind of videos you can have saved on your Blackberry. So weird. I'm remembering now, it's like, why was that there? What? And why was it just half the video? Why wasn't it the whole thing? So yeah, if you ever had a Blackberry and you had that, please let me know. If you know why that was there as well, please let me know. That's it for this video. That's my tier list. That's my thoughts on all of these bands there. Like I say, I'm gonna try and do some more videos going forward. I'll be trying to get a bit more active on here, so if you want to stick around for that, please do. If you're new here, feel free to press that subscribe button. Oh, look at it, it's nice and shiny there for you to click. You can go ahead and click that if you like. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it as well, maybe share it around. Other than that, I just, hope you're having a good day. Alright, I'll see you later. In White,